Greetings and salutations, everybody. Hope everybody is well. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Listen, make sure you share the live, share the live, share the live. You are in for a great treat. But guess what? Right after this, I will be back onto the show. What is going on, everybody? Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Listen, tell your neighbors and your friends. Tell your neighbors and your friends. We're going to have an amazing show tonight. Thank you so much for being on. Thank you so much for being live with us on tonight. Listen, we have a great panelist of guests on tonight, and I'm so happy to be able to be hosting this roundtable discussion tonight. Listen, make sure that when you come on, you share. Listen, and while you're doing that, make sure you guys get in the comments and comment and leave your questions. Just keep the comment section going, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. We're on Twitter and Twitch. So listen, make sure you inbox this live to somebody on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. It doesn't matter. Text them. Tell them, your neighbors and your friends, that we are here live tonight. So I'm super excited. My guests are here. We're missing one person. That's okay. So anyways, but right after this, we will be back with everybody on. Thank you so much for watching the show. I really hope that you are enjoying. Please make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to donate. Don't forget to subscribe to all other social medias. Don't forget those things, okay? Listen, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join us. We would love for you to be a part of us. Hey, while you guys are sitting there, please make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget. Also, while you're sitting there, please make sure you share the video with somebody on all social medias. Let me not forget to tell you that you can donate. Thank you for supporting the platform. Thank you so much for being a supporter of the show. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hitting that like button. And I appreciate everything that you guys do. Greetings and salutations. Hello, everybody. How is everyone doing?
Wonderful.
Good. It is indeed a pleasure to host this roundtable on this evening. So I want to just, first of all, just go around and just say thank you, Jose, who is the president of the Hispanic and Caribbean Democratic Caucus, for being with us on tonight. Thank you, Robin Lockett, who is you're the president of Florida Rise, right? Florida Rising?
Regional Director
of Florida Rising. Thank you for being here. Aida, who is the activist and organizer for the... Okay, wait a minute. I'm messing this all up. I'm going to let you do it.
You're good. I organize in the Muslim spaces, but particularly my title is the Chief Program and Strategy Officer with Scale for Change. But you did good.
Okay, thank you. Luis, who is a dear friend of mine, he is the president of the Hillsborough LGBTQ Democratic Caucus. Thank you, Louis, for being here with us tonight. Angelique Young, she is a drag queen, entertainer, and a trans activist. Jenna Barbee, who is an educator. She's a social media personality now. Stephen, who is the Hillsborough County Democratic Caucus for the Jewish Democratic Caucus. Yes. If I mess up anything, you guys, please count to my head, not my heart. So guys, thank you so much for being on tonight. I just would like for each of you all to take a moment to just introduce yourselves, and we're going to keep moving from there. I'm just super excited for you guys to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Damar.
Yeah. Who do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Well, Robin, you can go ahead and start.
Hey, everybody. My name is Robin Lockett. I am the Regional Director of Florida Rising of the Tampa Bay region. That region consists of Hillsborough County, Polk County, and also Pinellas County. So I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Jose?
Yes, my name is Jose Vasquez. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm living in the state of Florida for the last 23 years. Today, I have so many hats, but today I'm right here representing the Hillsborough County Caribbean Democratic Caucus. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, Jose. Aida?
Thank you, Demario, and thank you so much for hosting us. I appreciate the invite. My name is Aida. My pronouns are she, her. I currently serve as the Chief Program and Strategy Officer with Scale for Change. We're a subsidiary of Planned Parenthood Action Fund. Additionally, I've here in Florida worked with a Civil Rights Organization Council on American Islamic Relations post-Trump era and organized heavily in the Muslim progressive spaces.
Thank you so much for being with us. Louis?
All right. Thank you for having us. I know this is going to be a great night for everybody to be able to put their thoughts out there. My name is Luis Salazar. I'm originally from the state of Arizona. I've been living in Florida for about a decade now. I'm a graduate of Northern Arizona University, so we're the Lumberjacks, go Jacks. And I've been working in activism now for, it's been about 15, almost 16 years. And it's growing. I grew up 30 minutes from the border, and I know what it's like to wake up at night and wonder if your dad's going to come home. And we have a situation going on now, and we need to stand up for that.
Thank you, Louis, for being with us. Angelique?
Hi, everybody. I'm Angelique Young. I am a drag queen and show director at Showbar in Ybor City, but I am also a trans activist. I recently created the group Drag to Tally, which not only helped young community members here in Tampa, Florida go to Tallahassee to learn about lobbying and legislation, but I also was one of the key coordinators for the largest ever drag queen march on Tallahassee back in April. So that is why I'm here, and I'm excited to be here at this roundtable.
Thank you so much, Angelique. Jenna?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jenna Barbee. I'm a first and a last year teacher in the public education system. I am a newfound activist because I realize that that's what I want to do because everyone deserves equality. And yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Jenna. Stephen?
Yes, I'm Stephen Shaiken. I'm a retired criminal defense and immigration lawyer, and I'm president of the Jewish Caucus. We were formed about a year ago. Our main goal is to elect Democrats, hopefully progressive Democrats, but the cause of our formation was the kind of prejudice and danger that we're facing along with so many other minority groups, and our view is the best way to combat it is to join together. An attack on any of the groups here that aren't here is an attack on all of us. It's the same people and the same motivation, and we have to stay united and we'll beat them. And that's one of the reasons I'm here representing my community.
I appreciate that, Stephen. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all being here on tonight. It has been it is a pleasure that you all are here, and so many voices, so many communities, but all for the same cause of let's join together and make a difference. Let's make change. I feel like we're trying to pull back an Obama situation because we really need some change some kind of way. But the purpose of tonight is, we are really experiencing a lot of hatred, racism, and foolishness here in Florida. And, the person that we have that's our governor now is causing a lot of ruckus. And it's really, when you look at it, you sit back and you look at it, it's like, does anybody else see this but us? Does the rest of the world see this? And I know a lot of things that we're more than likely going to say tonight is going to offend some people. And that's okay. Because again, these are our lives, whether you're black, white, whatever your ethnicity is, whatever your religious beliefs are, we're human beings, we're people, and we're not getting treated as such.
Yeah, Damaris, I'm going to take a quote from you of what I've heard you say in the past, and the best way to explain it, I think, of what's going on is if you don't look like anybody on this call, you're comfortable right now. So we got to make them realize that it's not about being comfortable. It's about fighting for your neighbor, for their kids. Florida right now is under attack. women are under attack, minorities are under attack, communities that like are not looking like the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant are under attack right now. And these laws that are going to come in, you know, they first came for women. We saw that. They took away Roe v. Wade. Then they came after minorities like the LGBTQ community, African-American community. They're banning books. It's sometimes I wake up and I feel like I'm in a bad episode of Footloose. And it's, I know it's funny, but like, that's the reality of the silliness of it, of what we're living in, you know? We're fighting for the right to dance, for drag queens to dance. It's where we're at.
You know, just to kind of kick a lot of this off, I remember last year when I was at what is that facility called again, Aida?
I forgot the name of the facility, but it's on 56th in Tampa.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was there last year with a dear friend of mine, Cadence Daniels, who was running for governor at the time. And, you know, a lot of the people that were up talking, you know, their big thing was they were talking about their foreparents were immigrants. And it didn't feel like that. You know, one guy, he got up and he was super disrespectful. One guy, he had a very strong accent and he was like, "Can you speak up? I can't hear you. Can somebody translate for him?" And I was sitting there with my hand up and I was like, "You really want us to vote for you? And this is how you're talking to the people?" And, you know, I've always been taught that you have to be kind to people. You really have to be kind and courteous to people, because again, these are the people that you're ultimately asking to vote for you, but they're coming into our areas, into our communities, asking for our votes. But it's like, this is how we're being treated. And so, you know, I just, you know, with people coming to the Muslim community, like, how do you respond to that?
That is a very good question, Demario. When we look at just this past legislative session, and one of the things that Lewis was like, look at it from a Muslim experience, the Muslim community experience. And I'm thinking to myself, I started jotting down, and it was a litany of these dangerous bills that have passed, that our governor has enacted. And every single one of them touches my community because, like you stated, we are intersectional. And what my religion teaches is to protect one's neighbor, is to ensure that rights are given across the board, right? So we talk about the 6-week abortion ban, right? And I think with that 6-week abortion ban, there is a minor adjustment to if it was rape or incest by 15 weeks, which means that you have to also prove it via a police report, right? So how just backwards is this, right? And how does it affect folks like myself who religiously, we have a different opinion on this and what women and how women should be treated, right? And my religion in particular elevates a woman's health before anything, no matter at what stage of pregnancy her health is foremost, right? And so it doesn't give that ban, such as this constitution. So you're essentially preventing I have 3 daughters, right? And God forbid anything was to ever happen to them, unplanned or otherwise, and they wanted to make a choice. In Florida now, they're very limited to what that choice is for them, even religiously, right? And so we're also thinking about no permit to carry a concealed weapon. How does that affect my community, knowing that there has been over a 500% hate increase towards the Muslim population nationally, right? When we talk about the immigration, let's talk actually for a quick second about immigration and this new immigration law that DeSantis has recently signed. How does that affect Florida here? Do we know that 21% of our population in Florida are immigrants? 21% of our population. 35% of those people, entrepreneurs, 35% are immigrants. 8.1 billion with a B total income is contributed by immigrants. So when we restrict these laws, when we make these restrictions, it affects us on multifaceted ways. So it's not just one demographic, but if we were to think about it from a Muslim standpoint, right? My religion wholeheartedly, and like my counterpart Stephen stated, is to ensure that every single human being is protected, their rights protected, and they're given the freedoms that we all should have and enjoy, which is obviously being limited by this governor.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Now, Robin, you're the regional director for Florida Rising. Like, how do you weigh in on all of this, especially a woman, a Black woman, a woman of color, and a woman in leadership? How do you feel about especially all of this stuff, especially education, all of this stuff going on? Because I do want to touch with Stephen and Jose with the Hispanic and Caribbean community, and Jose with immigration. I want to talk with them about that. But as a Black woman of color, what are your thoughts in this right now?
So of course, all of the bills are terrible. They're in and they're terrible. But what do we do about it? Right? This is an opportunity for us to build from this point going forward. Something that we should have been doing before. Right? We have to be our brother's keepers. So if when they were doing the book ban against Blacks and targeting Blacks, shouldn't have been, there were other cultures out there fighting against, but how do we do that consistently? If they're fighting against or targeting the Muslims, the Caribbean, the Hispanics, we have to be our brother's keeper, right? Absolutely. So there's nothing we can do about the bill but cry about it. But how do we build for the future to make sure we not let him go to be a president and get target other seats to help offset some of this? Hopefully, if a Democrat or somebody else gets in office with some sense. But what I see in this whole entire thing is we have to be our brothers and sisters keeper. What if it hurts me, it hurts everybody.
Absolutely.
And if you're not fighting for that person because it's not affecting you, then you could be next. He's not, he's not discriminating against a lot of people. He threw everybody in the pot this time.
Yeah.
So now we are forced, right? Because we're looking like this and we're saying, hey, you know what? I can't do it by myself. You can't do it by yourself. Now we want to come together. So this is something that we have to continue because, and let me make a quick note about the governor and his attitude and so forth. As long as we continue to put people in office that do not truly speak for the people, we're going to continue to get the same result. We play safe with support and this is kind of touchy to me because I just ran for office, but we play safe because we go with what's normal, or we go with who the winner you think is going to be. Right? Outside of being truly for the person that is for the people and is going to do right for the people. You keep doing this and they keep playing politics with us and they end up voting for the same thing. And we keep crying every time Tallahassee ends and all of these terrible bills are coming out.
I appreciate that, Robin. Thank you so much. When I was at the meeting last year at the facility on 56, my main question was, who is going to be speaking for us as a people as a whole? My first time meeting Louis, I don't know why I want to call you Louise, but my first time meeting Louis was at the Democratic Caucus, the LGBTQ Democratic Caucus in Orlando. And, I was introduced to the Hillsborough Caucus and everything like that. But my main thing when I got up to speak, because I was confused, and I said, there are a lot of white people here. I appreciate all the white people that's here and for the fight that you all are fighting with us, for all people of color, for minorities, whatever. We're here, gay, straight, whatever. We're in this room. But I did not see a lot of us. And so my thing was, we're fighting a fight, but a lot of us are not coming to the table. And it's like Robin said, if I can call you Robin, I know you're my elder, so I want to be respectful. So
Look,
So
are you young enough to be my son?
I am.
Okay, so it's Miss Robin.
So Miss Robin.
If
So
you're young enough to be my son, then yeah.
so Miss Robin was making great points. But the thing about it also is that what she said is that we have to come together and fight for one another, because right now it's the LGBTQ, it's the drag queens. Next is going to be something else. It's like we're fighting this, and then it's like we got to hurry up and finish fighting this because we got another fight we got to fight. And I know, and Lewis was telling me, he said people are tired. And I get it, but it's like somebody has to help us along the way and help carry the torch, because if we burn out and stop, then we're going to go back to a very bad place. And that's one thing I was saying at the meeting in December, is that we have to not just allow someone to fight for us. We have to get in the fight and fight for ourselves. We're good at dancing. We're good at performing. We're good at, getting out here and entertaining, but we have to get out here and do the hard work too. Our grandparents, foreparents, all fought in the civil rights movement. And now we're in another civil rights movement again. And now everybody is included. Stephen and Jose, with the immigration and everything, I really want to know your thoughts about this, because this is not targeting anybody white. This is anybody that's brown, come from somewhere else. It's really gotten bad in South Florida.
Well, yeah, I mean, I did that for many, many years. And we always used to say, whenever there was a new law, we said it can't get any worse than this. And it always did. And now it's about as bad as it's been ever. You're absolutely correct. I mean, of course, to try and separate the history of immigration law from the history of racism would be folly. The laws have always been anti-people of color, from the Chinese Exclusion Acts to the Gentleman's Agreement with the Japanese. My wife's a Filipino American. Up until the 1965 reform, Filipinos were needed for farm workers, so they could only bring in 50 Filipino women a year. And there were anti-miscegenation. I would have gone to prison for my marriage in many states within my lifetime. And that was, of course, an attempt to keep down a non-white population. We're seeing it going now. I would say that, of course, while, I'm a good Democrat and I'm supporting the president for his reelection, this is a political party, not a cult. And I do speak at him, we all do. When we had our congressional representative, Kathy Cast, who's really fine and straightforward, the one question I asked her was, like, why aren't we changing the horrible stuff that we carried with us from the Trump administration and before in a meaningful way? It's not going to help politically at all, and it's inhumane. The only way that it's going to change is when we have a Congress that reflects the whole country and when people understand immigration. And I just returned from a brief trip overseas. I was in Italy and I was in Ireland. Italy has a fascist, racist government, and they aren't making any serious attempt to bring immigrants into their society or face the reality that they're an aging population. They need other people. Ireland took a different position. Their leader, I don't want to pronounce the name of the office, he's a Indian Irishman, a gay man, and his husband is prominent and nobody cares. And as a result, I mean, every day, the best falafel I ever had was in a restaurant run by this family from Damascus, Syria. And they've treated people humanely, and it works. So unfortunately, our leadership in the Republican Party, for sure, and some Democrats that are too scared to speak out are allowing it to happen. They're following, sadly, the Italian model, not the Irish. I think we should follow the American model. It always worked. All the lies you're hearing now, if you study history, believe me, every immigrant group, they didn't have to attack African Americans because they weren't immigrants in the true sense. They were captive immigrants. But all others, the Irish, they were going to bring in a papal conspiracy. The Jews were going to bring in communism. Islamic people are going to bring in terrorism, and Latinos, we heard what Trump said, rapists and none of it is true. It's all studies show immigrants have lower rates of committing crimes, lower rates of incarceration. So we need to keep talking about it, and we need to really pin down all candidates, including candidates in our own party. Don't give somebody a pass when they say, well, we'd like to do it, but it's politically impossible. It's not politically impossible if we elect you and tell you to do it. So that's my thought.
Jose, what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I have to explain I'm Puerto Rican. And for the people who don't have knowledge, Puerto Ricans are descendants of three races. We are Hispanic, we are Africans, and Native Indians, the Taino Indians. So this is who is a Puerto Rican. Now, from that point, I need to address in Puerto Rico, we have a multicultural people. We got Cubans, we got Irish, we got Jewish, and in Puerto Rico, we grow in one way. Hey, for us, if you treat me with dignity and respect, that's what counts for us. Now, when I moved to the United States, to the mainland, to the state of Florida, my life took a different twist. Why? Because I tried to understand and to apply my culture, my knowledge, how to treat another people, and that caused me a lot of problems. I can tell you, it took me over 20 years to try to understand the situation of the state of Florida. And with this new governor, a lot of the Puerto Rican people, we are total lost because we don't understand. We don't understand how somebody who's supposed to help the community, protect the people, do the best for everybody equally, he just pick and choose and make a fight. Let me tell you this. I learned about the different religions. Why? Because I need to understand my brothers and sisters so like that we can share together while we have it normal. So I understand the Jewish community. I understand the Muslim community, the Afro-American, the LGBT. I understand that because that's the way I've been raised. Because I need to understand my brothers so we can live together and progress together. Now, but when you have somebody who think that he got the power to humiliate the history, because this is not talking about positions, we're talking about history. That's a no-no. And I can give you a sample. When the Governor DeSantis started banning books, he attacked 2 books of the Puerto Rican community. He attacked the Sotomayor, because Sotomayor is one powerful woman as an attorney. Nothing with races and this and that. No. She's a woman who grew poor and to become one of the powerful attorneys in the United States. And the other book they tried to ban, it was Roberto Clemente. Roberto Clemente, he was a baseball player. Okay, he died, tried to help another country. He was in disaster. So this gentleman was a politician. This gentleman was a baseball player, a humanitarian person. But because Roberto Clemente explained on his book about his color skin and the way he was mistreated in the major leagues, they tried to ban it. What I try to share with all of you is he is rampage, attacking everybody. And only us need to educate our communities for they get off of the fear and united use the vote to repel him and everybody who support him. I run for public office so many times, not because I try to become elected, it's because I see the gap, the delivery a message. And if we don't have a leader, somebody has to say something. And I'm running. And I expose my ideas, not because Jose Vasquez idea, it's because I pick up Robin idea, Luis, Aida, Angelique, Stephen, I pick up the community ideas and I'm the funnel to deliver a message. Did that work? Well, yes. It worked because somebody listening, you know. And we need to start doing the same thing now. We need to start share our ideas, motivate the people to learn. It's about follow what he say. No, you need to learn your history. This is what happened on the law books. This is how you attack this. You know, a few weeks ago, I have a Tampa police officer that he knows me for so many years. And he put on his police report, I'm a Mexican. Okay? And I'm not resident. And I'm not married. I just like, what's wrong with this police officer? He profiled me? If you put my name on the internet, you know who I am. I'm not hiding nothing. How you mark me as a Mexican with no documents and a police report? What do you try to do against my person? You know. But again, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. It's a lot of stress in the immigrant community. A lot of people who are residents, United States residents, they are afraid because we depend on the service of the immigrant community, who go to continue building up houses for affordable housing, who go to continue pick up our vegetables for we cannot have a shortage of food. You know what I'm saying? Who going to rebuild the state of Florida in case we have a natural disaster?
Right.
But this governor blocking everybody come to the state of Florida.
Well, you know what he's saying right now is, you know, basically he said he's trying to make Florida safe again. You know, it's almost like that slogan that Trump had, "Make America Great Again." So he's basically saying make Florida white again. And I'm just like, dude, Florida has never been white. And you know, with what you said, Jose, right, and Steven, you know, Jose was talking about the books. And so I remember a lot of my first time meeting a lot of the politicians and stuff was last year at the Martin Luther King parade. I met Mayor Jane Castor. And so I wanted to, you know, interview her. I have my own thoughts about Jane, but you know, that's a different show. But you know, I'm looking at, because I was brought up in Polk County. I'm not originally from here, but I'm from here. I'll just say it like that. And so I know what it's like to teach. I know what it's like to grow up in this, you know, Polk County school district. And so we were taught about our history. We were taught about, you know, what happened. It just is what it is. You know, there were all kinds of people at my school at McKeel Academy. And so it's like to see this stuff happening now, because I was talking to some of the educators during the parade, and they were really voicing their opinion about, you know, they wanted to take AP courses of African-American studies out, and they want to take, you know, slavery out of the history books, and they want to take this and that, and anything of color, they want to take it out. Oh, and black people weren't slaves and they were immigrants. I said, what? I was like, wait, hold on. Black people were immigrants? I'm like, wait, y'all joking, right? And they said, no, because they said, you know, there are some, you know, Caucasian white families that just feel so, you know, it's like, it's so much pressure. I'm like, pressure? What do you mean pressure? Yeah. Why are you feeling uncomfortable? Like, did you do something? I'm like, this happened years ago, but this is our history. This is America's history. Like, this is what happened on these grounds and around the world. So with someone like Jenna Barbee, who is an educator, and you're trying to do your job as a teacher, and you say, you know what? I like this movie. I don't think anything is bad in here. Let's watch it. And I watched your video and I got so furious. I was so frustrated because I said, they make it like it was like a whole full out sex scene. It was just soirees going on. I was like, it was nothing going on. Jenna, you got it. Go ahead.
Well, I want to backtrack a second to talk about the whole Black History thing, because during Black History Month, I was told not to do Black History Month projects because some parents might take offense to that. Yes. So, of course, I made a list of lower, like not as common Black history names, and let all of my students choose someone from the list. That way every single person got represented, and I put them in the hallway for everybody to see, because their history is important. It's our history. Anyway, but so this whole movie is just, I just don't understand. I guess I was raised in a way that everybody's equal. Like, it's the soul inside. It's the way that you connect with your religion. If your religion is what makes you a better person and treat everyone with love and kindness, then that is beautiful. That is powerful. And it is true, because it's true to you. That is true. And so I don't understand now why we're taking these things away from people. We're the United States, right? We are supposed to be this melting pot. We are supposed to be the example for other countries that represents pure individuality and diversity combined in a way that we create an ecosystem stronger than any other country. So now we're getting rid of all of it, which means, guess what we're going to be? The weakest. It doesn't make sense.
So Jenna, do you know why they're doing all of this? Because those little white kids came home to mama and daddy and said, hey, did our ancestors do XYZ? Did that really happen?
Amen.
That's why, right? It's not for the younger kids are asking questions as to how can this happen? How can this be so cruel? How can our ancestors sit and eat a tuna sandwich and watch somebody be hung? And call it a picnic.
Yeah.
So they're bringing those questions, and they're making those parents
feel uncomfortable.
And those parents are tired of those kids who are marching in the streets because of the Black deaths. They're in the forefront marching, saying Black Lives Matter. So white America does not like that. And that's why they're trying to silence it. It has nothing to do with anything other than those kids coming and disowning them for the treatment that they cause, the harm that they cause.
It's terrifying, because at this point, every educator in America could be reported for indoctrination just by a child simply going home and telling their parents something.
Yeah.
On the same day that I got in trouble, one of the other teachers who started the art program at our school 10 years ago, she got escorted out of the classroom because she was doing quote art, and one of the students wrote, they're middle schoolers, so they're a little bit older. They wrote on there, they drew this like elf, and they wrote on there, I'm a lesbian, I'm a woman kisser. And she hung the art just like she hangs everyone else's art. And a student came into class, ripped her art off the wall, and started saying terrible things about how it's not okay to be gay and all this stuff. And the teacher said to the student, you need to stop saying homophobic things. She got escorted out of the classroom, and it is just now, I think, able to come back. It's been a couple weeks, and she either had to take sick leave or go sit in the front office. She's not allowed to teach because she told a student to stop bullying other students. But because the word homophobic was used, which it's just like saying, stop saying racist things, stop saying, like, because she was defending another student, but that student went home and told his parent. So the parent called and she got escorted out. So that's why would you want to go into education if your 10+ year career could be stripped away at one 10-year-old or 11-year-old's word to their parent?
That's, Jenna, and this is, how can I put this? This is not a new thing. Like I said earlier, I was raised in Arizona. I was born in 1982. So when I was going through school, Martin Luther King Day was becoming a national holiday. The state of Arizona was the last state to recognize it. And I remember being in grade school and my teacher getting in trouble because she was teaching us about Martin Luther King. I didn't learn about Martin Luther King until I was in 6th grade because of that law. I believe it was like 1992 or 3 when it became official. But this is not new. This is something that happened. It's real. It's continuing. It's like a cycle, and we have to keep an eye on it, right? So even when change does happen, we celebrate it, but we also have to stand guard for all the other things that are coming right behind it, because they will find a way.
And we have to be very mindful also, because whatever they're doing now, it may not be perfected, but no one has had the courage to open that door. So people that are following this clown will have the courage, because he's created the pathway for them to try to perfect it. So we have to be so mindful of the next person. That's why it's important for us to make sure that we get him out and put the right person in.
I just don't understand something. I don't understand how you can look at this human who is supposed to represent us, a whole state of other humans, and he sent a plane full of immigrants to a resort island and had no regard for the fact that they were humans.
But Jenna, you know what's interesting? Little factoid here that's interesting about where laws, draconian laws, to say the least, about immigration. So let's say you or I were to give a ride to our friend who happens to be undocumented, could get into legal repercussions, because the law currently states even transporting me, driving an undocumented human, that would potentially get me into legal issues. But that law doesn't seem to pertain to Governor DeSantis, where he can easily, have a full plane full of immigrants or a bus full of immigrants and ship them across state lines. So that little tidbit, I was like, so it's okay for you to do this, but you made it a legislative thing where we cannot even give them a ride to a hospital or anywhere.
Well, Ada, you remember that one governor had sent all of those immigrants to Kamala Harris's residence?
Yes.
Like the racism and the systematic.
The other thing, Mario, when we talk about education, what I really hope our listeners here comprehend the full impact of a bill such as HB 999. Just how, honestly, I'm going to read a little bit excerpt. HB 999 would require faculty to censor their discussion on materials just in general education courses. So they're not only censoring what the textbook says, they are censoring our thought process. You can't have a what is education without sharing a discussion on just general courses. So this is the extent of control that this governor is trying to hold on our education. And those are the generations that are to follow. And I definitely agree with my colleague Robin that stated this is an awakening, and they do see a fear. We had, an amazing turnout. Robin and I and Luis and Jose have worked on multiple efforts in terms of organizing. When we did a lot of our Black Lives Matter organizing protests and whatnot, there was a powerful effort. And Robin is absolutely correct. We cannot do this alone. It will require intersectional organizing. It will require all of us to really vote this individual out, and not just the governor, but all of these seats. I want us to look at which of these legislators in the Senate and the House are passing these draconian laws through our legislature, and let's organize them out, because we do hold that power. It's essentially we as people, and I gave some of those percentages of how much of us are here. It is incumbent on us to really organize our communities, educate our communities on how this affects us on the ground, and vote him out. What's really scary for me to consider is his impact should he even have a chance at the White House, right? That is really scary to think that he can do something like this in the state of Florida. So whoever was stating is anybody watching what's happening in Florida? I hope the nation is watching what's happening in Florida, because it is reflective of what he would potentially do as president.
Ida, what confuses me the most is that I see this man, it's like he's passing bills like this, like, whoa.
At 11 o'clock at night, Demario. At
And it's
11
he
o'clock at
can.
night.
And he can too. He has the power to right now.
Well,
You know, and a lot of things that Angelique, I know you're like new to this, and I sometimes like I went with her to Drag to Tally, and I see all these young activists just getting riled up, right? But you also see in their face like, why are we fighting this uphill battle? And maybe I know everybody on this call, we like that doesn't even cross our mind. We keep struggling up that hill. Right?
Kate Bush running up that hill, baby, every day.
Yeah, we do.
At us, and we just dodge them.
You know,
But
well, first of all, I've been fighting. As the saying goes, I used to scream and shout, to change the world, and now I scream and shout to stop the world from changing me. But what we can do now, there's something we haven't touched on, and it's not as glamorous as being able to show off our policy chops, and that is what we Democratic caucus members know, the hard work of getting people to register to vote. It's become more difficult now because Floridians love to vote by mail, and there's a nightmaric process. Now, our caucus or any one of the caucuses here will be happy to help anybody who wants to know how to get started registering voters. It's, as I say, it may not be the most glamorous thing in the world, but it won't matter if people listen to us if they haven't registered to vote. So and that's, of course, a perfect time to start getting them to listen to you. So what I'd ask, well, the caucuses are already, you guys know, and you women know what to do, but everybody should understand there's no hope of change in the Florida legislature or the national legislature if people who should be voting the way we think they should don't exercise that right that so many people fought and died for.
So can I say something to that?
Sure.
Because we have to have a real transparent and serious conversation, right? So it's one thing to register people to vote. If the Democratic Party is not speaking to everybody's issues and being very specific in regards to what those talking points are that would make somebody go and vote, it's fine to register people to vote. But if there's no civic engagement on how, what, when, because I'm at the polls all the time. And a young person would say, hey, I registered, but I have not a clue what to do.
Or who or why I'm voting.
Right.
Or why I am voting.
Yeah.
You're right.
Somebody just, they were a number because they had a quota and they met their quota by registering people to vote. So then again, if we're really going to be our brothers and sisters keeper, when I say that, that means that we have to be very, very intentional. And being intentional is taking that extra step. You may, and this is tough, everybody's registering, but nobody's educating. Nobody's providing engagement. And that part is what's missing. And then the party is not speaking to everybody's issues. That's
right.
key.
This was a huge thing for us. Like,
when I said that we should press our candidates on different issues, I was being diplomatic. What I really mean is we should go out and try and make sure that the candidates get nominated reflect these values. You said it.
And also, Mr. Steven and Miss Robin, Angela, give me 1 second. I've been saying this ever since I really got into doing a lot of this, is that the problem with even registering people is just exactly what you said. No one knows any of these people. We're only focused on vote Republican, vote Democratic, and we see all these people that come up, oh, vote for me, vote for me. And I said this last year, and I don't think nobody heard me, but that was, what are you giving back to the people? Because you want our votes. You know, they're coming to the Muslim facilities. They're coming to the LGBTQ. They're coming to the Black churches. They're coming to the Hispanic churches, and they're coming in. And then they want the gays and they want the drag queens to come and do all this. And it's like, okay, so what are you actually going to be doing for our communities? Because
it should be a continuation of what they were doing. They shouldn't, when they run, they shouldn't just start saying what they're going to be doing. as they're running, they should be saying, hey, this is what I was doing, and I'm going to my seat is just an elevation of continuation of what I've been doing.
Yes.
So that's where we go. That's where we fall short, right?
And I think the other thing, Robin, that DeMario was stating.
I'm sorry, DeMario. I'm sorry.
No. I was saying the other thing that I believe, DeMario, and correct me if I'm wrong in understanding you here, it's the lack of knowing where the candidates stand for on and how it pertains to our everyday life. And this is a very, very good point that you make, DeMario. One of the things that we identified that during the Trump era, while working with, civil rights organization, we've identified that we are missing that education, portion of it. I know that there are certain demographic of communities, like Muslim communities started its own local PAC, and with that PAC, through that PAC, we interview them and we have a slate card with recommendations and why we are endorsing certain local candidates, which usually PACs don't focus heavily on local, but I believe it all starts on a local level, right? And it affects you the most, right? So that is the one component, but on a larger scale, that is absolutely missing. And how do we get that information that is pertaining to our communities readily available? Because even the Muslim communities, we might look at Hillsborough County where this PAC works, and that's the only county that we can, distribute this information pertaining to that county. But what about on the state level? We don't have something like that, right? So how do we get that information out there? Organizations such as Robin's that she works with, I know personally, I know also SEIU, who I've worked with on a professional level previously, and Jose and I have partnered on some union work. We try to educate that from these paid entities. But when we're thinking about grassroots and organizing, what is also needed is funding, DeMario. Funding is being, look at the party and the funding that the Democratic Party in Florida has seen a huge decline in terms of funding coming into the state post Gillum run, right? And so where is the funding coming from to support the necessary civic engagement and civic education that is needed in our communities? That's also lacking, right? So what can we do as a collective? It's organized together. I say from the campaign of Senator Warren, we were scrappy, but very effective, and Lewis can account to that. But this is something that we're learning on the ground, that it's truly going to be on all of us to tap into our networks, to tap into our grassroots organizing, to ensure that we don't have a DeSantis run, we don't have a win, and we try to at least minimize the damage that his current leadership has done.
Yeah.
Now, Angelique,
have to look at the whole picture, though. As somebody who's a younger person, I mean, I'm 36 years old. I'll be quite honest with everybody. And my first time at the Capitol in Tallahassee was because of what happened in December to drag queens. When I organized and I went up to Tallahassee, I went up there with the mindset of attacking a bill that was going to directly hurt my community. I went up there fierce about what was happening to me. But when we got there and we sat in the testimony room, in the courtroom with them, and we looked them in the eye and we got to see how they reacted to this, and we learned that there was a supermajority, which we never knew. We didn't understand what we were up against. We didn't know that it was a losing battle from the moment the bill even left someone's mouth. So learning that and then going there and seeing how they're acting, seeing how they're reacting, seeing all of that changed my people's immediate reaction. And the first thing we did was we acted like it was the Civil War all over again. And we were like, baby, the redcoats are coming. Like, we came back and we told everybody, we hold and organized community gatherings, and we went to nightclubs, went to bars, we went to community centers, we went to parks, we went everywhere, and we let everybody know. We contacted all of our friends like it was a phone tree, literally a phone tree. 10 regions, 22 cities, we gathered together for that march in Tallahassee from just entertainers. But when we went up, we didn't just take entertainers, we took families, we took children, we took anybody and everybody who wanted to fight with us. So imagine if I had known Robin, if I had known Aida, if I had known Steven, if I had known Jose, and I went up with all of y'all and your communities, but I didn't know your communities existed. I didn't even know you guys existed until this wonderful opportunity. So imagine, so I get what everybody's saying, but the missing link here is that you're not looking outside of your community. You're not standing out and saying, I need to go talk to this other community. You need to warn the other community. Yes, we need to go warn our people first. Absolutely, I'm 100% behind that. But you can't just organize, warn, and protect your community and then run. You have to develop a system, a phone tree that allows you to contact everybody and everybody needs to be connected. And you don't need everybody in the room. You need one leader from every group. That's it. Right. Just like this right now, this is enough. Listen, this is what I did. I went up there the first time with 9 people. The 9 of us came back and we went up there with another 9. That 9 turned into 30-something people. That 30-something people turned into 175. And by the time I got to April, we were up in Tallahassee with over 1,000 people. So imagine, and that was free, baby. Nobody paid me nothing. I didn't make a red damn cent. I did all that off the sweat of my own back, organized by myself with no education on politics, with no education on anything. So the reality is that when you find people who have the spark, when you find people who have the mission, who have the drive, you have got to stand behind them. And you do not need money to do it. And when you do need money, best believe when you lean on your community. My community sent me and one other person. We went up, we asked for a benefit show. This is why drag queens are amazing. And y'all are, we're an untapped community. You really should look into us because we went in thinking we were going to raise $500. Our community heard our cry and sent us up there with $4,600. We turned that $4,600 into $15,000 and sent buses, charter buses, fully paid for trips for people with hotel rooms, paid for people, paid for their food and everything with the money that we raised off of our community who supported us and wanted to see us grow. So knowing that now, I now know what I have to do next. And yes, we do plan to register everybody, but we plan to make sure that we drag their asses to the polls too. You can't just come and register. You got to pump to the vote as well. 100%. You got to go the whole way through. And the way you do that, you're absolutely right, Robin. You have to give them that one meal ticket that makes them want to eat. People are starving and they're hungry, but closed mouths don't get fed. You got to open people up to that. You got to show them the food and let them smell it and let them know that it's on the other side. They have to go for it though. I'm not bringing you your plate. Get up and go make it yourself. This ain't your mama's house. You on your own, baby. You 18, you grown. Get up and go make your plate and go eat because you hungry.
And so you I walk with new?
You. I'm new.
You don't sound new.
I'm new.
You did a whole lot of relational organizing, my friend. So yeah, right on point.
Yeah, it's about that though. And I think that it's time that people stop waiting. Yes, it's sad that we all jumped on the gun late because we all were sleeping. We were comfortable. We were cozy. Now we're real uncomfortable. And I don't know about you, but I don't like being uncomfortable, especially not in no Florida, baby. I start sweating a little bit and I run for some AC. So I know y'all got to be feeling the same way. So, but that's something I learned in this moment. I was scared. I was fearful. And I had 2 choices. I could sit back and lay down and die, or I could stand up and fight. And I was like, I don't know what this is going to do. I don't know if I'm going to go to jail. I don't know if I'm going to get arrested. I don't know if I'm going to have people hunt me down and try to assassinate me for the work that I'm doing because I'm doing good work in my community. People know my name. I'm telling my story on radio stations, on documentaries. I'm going everywhere and I'm not stopping for nobody. Nobody's going to silence me. Sure. So what? I can't use the bathroom if somebody feels uncomfortable because I'm too beautiful. So what if you take away my ability to do healthcare because I got to go see my doctor? My doctor loves me when I come in. I don't care. You're not hurting me. But what you did hurt is you hurt my baby's kids and you hurt them other people that I love. So now I got to make you hurt because I stand up for my people when they hurt. And that's how it has to be every time. And I don't care who you are, what your color is, what your gender is. When my people hurt, I hurt. And if I hurt, that's when we fight.
That's right.
You know, Angelique, when we were talking the last time I was at the caucus, the meeting, it wasn't as bad as it is now. But I've been doing shows like for the past couple weeks, and I'm just sitting here because I went to Jacksonville and I've been to quite a few drag shows here in Tampa. And I know here in Tampa, you know, at 7th and Grove, and then Southern Nights, you have to, you know, these are adult clubs. Like children don't just roll up in there. These are adult clubs.
Right.
I went to Hamburger Mary's in Jacksonville when I was there. Me and my brothers, we went to there to go I've never been there before. And there was a family that was having a child's birthday party. Now, again, this was a family that was having a child's birthday party. Adult consent. When I see this stuff on the news and they're acting as if, you know, these children just rolled up in there. Right. I'm confused because I'm like, now I know, you know, I don't have my PhD and I did graduate high school, graduated college, working on my bachelor's. I'm very smart. and I'm far from dumb. How is it that they can put this stuff on the news and no one questions, like, and there are plenty of straight people who've gone to drag shows. Nobody says anything because I'm like, okay, I know good and well that you have to have consent. And what they're showing on the news and on the TV and on the media is far from, because I've never seen it. I've never seen nobody gyrating in front of children's faces and, you know, thrusting. And I'm like, I'm confused because I don't see that. I don't see that around children. And why would children be in it? It's really confusing what I see. Yeah. And so I'm glad you're here because you're a drag queen entertainer, also a trans activist. I'm glad you're here because I want to know your thoughts about what you're seeing on the media and what do you feel about that?
So when it comes to the drag ban in particular, I had the distinguished and unpleasant time of being in the room with Randy Fine when he presented this bill for the very first time to the committee of representatives for its first pass on the floor. And it was absolutely horrible. This man literally has created an entire agenda off of one incident that he was privy to because he decided to go to a show for whatever ungodly reason, or be at a show, or be in the presence of a show. And he decided to put his face there or whatever. And that place had a family who gave consent and brought a kid there. And his disgust for that particular entertainer's lifestyle choices and costume choices is what started this whole thing. So he, his idea and his theory is that kids don't need to be involved. Grown-ups can do grown-up things. Shows like that should be for adults and what have you. But mind you, we live in a state that is hot as hell. And if a child goes to any beach, any pool, any water park, they are privy to see a woman in a bathing suit that is a lot less than any drag queen ever. And that's with full visibility of all parts. And that includes men. Men wear skimpy little bathing suits too. So there's no difference in my eyes. Literally, I got in trouble the other day on a press call with Equality Florida because, well, I didn't really get in trouble, but it's a running joke now, because I talked about how a few years ago when Tampa Pride started, there was a strict rule about all the dancers having to sign a form of consent saying that they will not go in the street with a jock strap on because of the law. They have to have, the law strictly mandates that anybody in the street has to have all of their private parts covered, including their booty hole.
Baby, they had jock straps this year.
But the booty hole has to be covered, so they have to wear a thong with it. So as long as they're wearing a thong, they can wear, the boot cheeks can be out, but the hole cannot be visible. So the same thing with the front. No nipples, no hole, no actual genitalia is literally the law. It's the law here in Florida. So you cannot be out in the street like that. You can't mess around. You could be indoors in a place that has coverage, but you can't be outside. There was a huge thing. We all had to sign forms saying that we were not going to participate in Tampa Pride and mislead or misguide people with the clothing that we wore, even though the block is shut down and it's all consent, whatever. But that was the deal. So coming into this and knowing that here, the same thing applies at a lot of places. I've had the privilege of traveling all over Florida and working, and all of these places have rules. Hamburger Mary's, when it was owned here in Florida and had 5 locations, literally all of the entertainers had to wear pantyhose. We had to wear fishnets. We have to wear heels. We have to wear tights. Like everything is in order and needs in place to protect the viewership of the people that come in, because we knew people brought their kids. We're aware. There's no point where we're like, oh, we don't know if kids are coming. You know, if an establishment decides to let somebody bring their young kid for whatever reason, that's the establishment's business. So you shouldn't attack an entire community simply because one person chooses to do one thing. But once again, that goes by the standard of that venue, that place, and what they allow. So if you chose to go there and see that, that's on you. If I don't want to go see an R-rated movie, I'm not going to see the R-rated movie. If I don't want to see something NC-17, I'm not going to see it. I have the right as a person to make that choice. And then if I bring my kids or somebody with me, that's both between me and that person. You know, that has nothing to do with anybody else. So now we're rolling into parental consent. We're rolling into how people raise their kids. And we're rolling into a lot, but you're going to punish the venue and the parent. So my whole thing is that I've worked in a lot of places. I've done children events, and we're always notified as entertainers. When there's a kid in the building, everybody is notified. All music is supposed to be cut, changed, to fit the music. It's meant to, the outfits have to fit the mood and the room. But also, those are only specifically to daytime events. I've never heard of a nighttime event that's open for children. I mean, once the sun goes down, I'm a 10 a.m. do you know where your kids are kind of girl. And I don't believe kids should be out once the sun set. Like, I get if you're on vacation in Miami, baby, but South Beach is its own country in my mind. But anywhere else, like, you got to understand, like, this is an attack on the community specifically because there's no other event going on in the world for brunch outside of drag shows. What else could you possibly not want kids there for? So it's okay for a kid to go with their mother who's going to go get wasted on mimosas at the brunch just because there's no drag queens there. But the drag queens are the real threat. I would think that the mother getting drunk is the threat, you idiot. Like, why are you not? The censorship is that you're in the wrong place. Right idea, wrong angle. Like,
but you know why he does it?
Oh, absolutely.
So he throws all these things out and dare you to sue him. Because now you'll spend your money trying to undo what, for a judge to prove that what he did was wrong and to revert it. But so if you don't have the money to fight back, like he took Andrew Gillum, he took Andrew Warren out of office, right? Yeah. And Andrew's fighting him with tooth and nail to try to get back in office.
Right.
And what he did was wrong. So he puts these bills out there, does this, and say, now, okay, if you sue me, you sue me. Nobody hears about the wins that other people make with them. Nobody hears about that. But if you're going to sue him, you sue him. But he just puts it out there.
Basically, right now,
and this is me just saying that, and from what I see it as, it is literally an attack on women and the image of a woman. It's no problem. You don't hear about drag kings being told not to do these things. It is literally an attack on women, their sexuality, who they are, or even the image of a woman.
Yeah, because even burlesque is being attacked as well. Burlesque entertainers face this as well.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm pretty biased because when I was growing up as a young gay kid, the one group of people that saved me, make sure nobody bullied me, make sure I was fed, make sure I was taken care of, was women and drag queens. So they are leaders in our communities that we need to respect. Stonewall was not started by a gay man. It was started by a Black trans woman that said enough is enough.
I want to say something. Angelique, Luis, Mario, Aida, Robin, Steven, and Jenna, we need to change the tactic to attack him. For example, let's go talking about the drag queens. What's the difference between a show in a club or in a private venue? We are showing the drags. They dress up. They put on makeup. You know what I'm saying? They do a performance. But because it's in the strike, it's fine. What happened about the movie with Robin Williams?
Birdcage.
No.
Oh, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire. What's the difference? You know what I'm saying? So
Tyler Perry.
Hey, Big Mama, what happened with that one? You know, the police officer dressing on the cover. Hey, what we need to do is, as a community, we need to tell the governor, you know what? If you want it sounds right, what happened about this? You're wrong. You know what I'm saying? As a Latino, I can tell you, we assimilate these things because we don't have nothing prejudiced against nobody. Now, let's go talking about what is their civil rights. I have the civil rights to choose what I want. Back on the days, we don't have an internet. So if an educator want to educate a child in one way, right? Because she thinks that's the best for the development of the child. When that kid left the school, that kid got to pick up the table and he got to see whatever he wants. Argument, fight, violence. You know what I'm saying? So we need to explain that not only to the governor, to the legislators, because don't try to blame us. It's a Hollywood, it's an artist. we as a community try to protect ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And we need to change that. I'm very important. I respect the people who wanted to register to vote, but I think for me it's more important try to the people who are already registered get out and vote. Right now we passed through an election in the city of Tampa for over 250,000 people qualified for vote, and only 20,000 people get out and vote. I'm in shock.
Well, Jose, I said this the other day, Miss Robin, and I was so confused when our mayor said something about, when she was responding to the NAACP. Now, I haven't heard her say anything thus far outside of this. Now, I have been trying to have an interview with Jane Castor for a minute. I talked to her mother, good in person, but when I'm trying to do a follow-up, and here's the reason why I'm saying this is because Jane Castor, who is the mayor of Tampa, is an open LGBTQ lesbian woman. How do you, as an open LGBTQ lesbian woman, you sit back while your community is being attacked and don't say anything? Now, I understand. Is she a Republican?
She used to be.
Oh, okay. So you say whether she's a Republican or not, you are supposedly a part of a community, and you don't fight for your community. Not only that, you don't even fight for the children. This is why I'm at a point, y'all. I'm so serious. And for lack of better words, there's this saying it's an ongoing joke. Fuck them kids. This is what I feel like, it's inappropriate, but it's like, this is what you're really saying. You're concerned about the kids, but you're really not concerned. You're throwing the kids up just to make like, oh my God, the children. What about the children? Man, if you don't get out of here with that foolishness, you do not care nothing about them kids. You're using them kids as a scapegoat, because I promise you, if you was concerned about them kids, you wouldn't be touching their education. You wouldn't be touching what's going on in the school systems. These teachers would be getting paid properly. I have people that I know, Jenna, that are sitting here struggling. They make $40,000 a year and still struggling here in Tampa. So tell me, how are you the mayor and you're not saying anything? So then my next question is, are your hands being greased?
No, it's about the hands grease of the mayor. It's about she don't want to step in because she's in a safety position. Now, I have an answer for you. Let's go make it a big party for her, and we got to give you a nice proclamation, like we recognize that she's an LGBT person, that she step up and she's doing this and that, and she fight for the law, but why she not fight the government? If we put her in that spot position, maybe she talk, but she got to avoid us because she's not running for re-election. And believe it or not.
Oh, she just got put back in position.
But she can't run again. This is her last term. Also, and you're right, Mario. Like, if you really want to protect children, make sure they don't go to bed hungry. Make sure they don't get shot at school. Make sure they have access to books and education and free thinking. How about those before you start taking away,
Well,
that's what we should be focusing on.
But we need to point out to her, for example, the homeless. We need to point out her about what happened. Yes, you make it a nice, beautiful program for pick up homeless, but what happened with the families with children homeless and sleeping on the cars in the city of Tampa no pick up? Huh?
That's what she has control over. The school and the school district, she doesn't. I mean, there's school board members and so forth that are in control of that. But in regards to sidewalks, infrastructure, housing, and so forth, she does have control over that and making decisions in regards to that. So it's two different things.
No, I know that.
She don't have anything against to do with keeping the books in school. Now, her position, she can say that is wrong, and garner
exactly.
some influence. But in regards to her making laws and so forth against that, she has nothing to do with that.
You know, and saying something's wrong and standing up for it is something she needs to do. I mean, what is she buddies with Ron DeSantis? I mean, what's going on here?
Hold up, y'all let Jenna pop up for air. She been hold her breath for a minute. I see her down there. I see her.
Sorry, Jenna.
Let me tell you that.
Well, I just wanted to comment on this whole children's safety thing, because this is for the children, and this whole, this fact that we are, every month having to practice what happens if a school shooter comes on campus, and we're not even allowed to have our blinds open anymore in the classroom just in case. Oh yeah, so no natural sunlight, only those fluorescents, even if you have windows. Nope, not allowed open. We are practicing what to do and having to watch trainings every month. So we're focusing on what we do when, instead of focusing on the why. Why is this violence happening? And the why is the increase in mental illness because of taking all these things out. This lack of acceptance and increase in hate is causing these people to feel unaccepted. It's causing these people to not know who they are. And because of that, we're creating these mental health issues and creating these school shootings. We are the reason this is happening as a collective society, unless we do something to stand up and change it. We should not be practicing what happens if a school shooter comes. We should be taking down the roots of why it's happening in the first place.
Yes,
ma'am.
I would hit the applause button right there, but Jenna, this is the thing. Like, even when I was in high school at McKill Academy, like we didn't have. I mean, of course, it was 2000. Where I was in high school from 98 to 2002. So,
oh gosh.
That was not. I told you I'm young enough to be your child now.
I graduated in 1982. God.
Oh my God! We didn't even have to deal with those things. Like, we never had a discussion about if a shooter. I mean, we was more concerned about a hurricane. But it's like, what is going on now? They're making up. It's like everything that they want to like take outside of their own ideology, and they want to make up something like, oh, I'm so concerned. If you're so concerned, why not do something about these gun laws? Like, can we do that? Can we talk about why you made it possible that people can walk around Florida with no permit, no anything? So then my next question is this. Are you going to free all them people that are in jail that had possession of weapons? Like, I mean, because you just made that goes back to even marijuana. Like we were making it legal to smoke marijuana. So are you going to go back in the judicial system and free all those people who you didn't threw in jail for possession of marijuana? Like this stuff that we're doing right now, or they're doing, it doesn't make sense. When I went to go vote, when I went to go vote, and I really, honestly, I didn't want to vote for Joe Biden. Stephen, I'm sorry. I didn't want to vote for Joe Biden, but he was the lesser of two evils.
Why not? Why not?
Okay, so I didn't want to vote for Joe Biden because, like, Joe came out and he was making all these promises, and I knew, he's having to follow, behind a Obama. Well, you're having to follow behind a Trump, but you got Obama, Trump, now you got Joe. And then it's like the first thing Joe gets in there and does, which really pissed me off, was the Stop Asian Hate. And I was like, wait, what? Stop Asian Hate? Like, did you just see that man got hung up on a tree over there? I'm like, what? Wait a minute. And so I get the Stop Asian Hate. I get that. But as much as that has been going on in this country, you should have just, instead of saying Stop Asian Hate, it should have been people of color, minority, because what's happening is too many times our brothers, sons, uncles, brothers, daughters, they're being shot and killed for no reason. You had Trayvon Martin, who was shot and he just had a Arizona tea and some Skittles, and the dude is walking free. The dude who over there in Carolina went up in the church, shot up all them people. They took him to McDonald's. The guy in New York went into a grocery store, shot all them people. You're handing him what? And it's like, we see what's going on, but nothing's being done. But we're still dealing.
Yeah,
ma'am.
I'm sorry. I'm repeating what you're saying.
But we're still dealing with gun issues, and because these people, the people that own the guns, the people that own the gun companies, they're making money off of the debts and the bodies. And when I say the debts and the bodies, these guns that are being sold, they're making billions of dollars. And while we're out here fussing about drag queens, we're fussing about gays, we're fussing about immigrants, baby, this is a smoke screen. This is just me. This is a smoke screen, and the real issues they're not being dealt with. And so the smoke screen is let's talk about the gays. Let's talk about African American people. Let's talk about the immigrants.
That's exactly it.
Also,
and he has not. I'm sorry, Louise.
No, go ahead.
He hasn't done anything about the homeowners taxes. He hasn't done anything about anything up there. But he's put a lot of little fires that we can't, and we have to organize in silence, right? What if all the stuff that has come down, we can't do anything about it, but we organize in silence, and everybody, get with it, organize, because he expects for us to whine about what he's done. He expects for us to hold rallies. He expects for just so he can say, that's stupid, or that's dumb, or why are you doing that? But we have to organize in silence, and we have to be very intentional on changing the trajectory of what's going on.
I just want to comment on your organizing in silence thing real quick. The little fires that she's talking about starting, he wants us to rally, because when we rally, then those supporters, they feed off of that. It's this fear-hate energy. It's like a fire that's made of just like pine cones and dry leaves. It burns so hot, so fast, but it burns out quick. So it needs all of that hate energy going into it from us fighting and them fighting, us fighting each other. But if we recognize what's happening, and we just build a different fire. We build that fire of love, that fire of representation. It's going to take longer, and we build silently, just like the roots of a tree. It starts underground, and we build that. Now we have a fire that won't go out, because we built something so strong, and that is what we need.
Yeah.
Also, going back on the election, and this goes into what Jenna's talking about. The 2020 election. I worked on it with Aida. That election had more women and more minorities running for office than any election I've ever seen. And yet our choices were to elect 2 old white guys. So we need to stop, be more diverse and stop voting the safe way. You know what I mean? We had women on there that wanted to give you free education, that we're trying to stop guns from being sold. And yet we are still making the same crazy choice. I'm going to vote Democrat because I am Democrat, and I feel like they're going to make the best choices for me, because that's how I feel personally. Now, but we also have to start diversifying our party so that the people that are leading us look like the people in this room, instead of just another old white guy that we're going to vote for.
That comes down to meeting, though. But meeting is everything. I think even for myself, as somebody who I've always voted, I vote every chance I can get, but I only vote for what I know, right? I don't go and make uneducated guesses. This is not high school or college when I could do the Scantron, right, and just hope for the 50-50 chance on the question and answer. I have to actually know who I'm scribbling in for. I remember at my last election, I was still registered in my previous county. So me being me, I drove to my previous county and went and filled it out. And when I walked in and I'm looking at the ballot, I'm like, what is this law about protecting whatever? And then there's another law about something else. And I'm like, I can't sit here and go through and find it anywhere. I'm like, how do I educate myself on this? I don't even want to vote on it. I'd rather not vote. I'd rather leave it blank, because I don't want to say yes or no to something that I have no education on. And it dawned on me in that moment. And I've actually mentioned this at a few other things that I've gone to. And when I spoke at the Democratic Caucus in Tallahassee, I was like, y'all got to come meet your people. And not only meet them, but explain to them what you're doing. You can't just say, oh, I want to do something for the veterans. No, sit down and explain to me why you're helping the veterans and what you're doing for the veterans so that I can vote for you for that. And then also, I'll tell people to help vote for your veterans. Like that meeting process, knowing the people, even just being in a room with them or being in an area with them, like it's more than just showing up and saying hi at the church. It's got to be an actual sit down situation. Like sitting down with people changed my mind about so many different things. It let me know how many people are not educated themselves in the position they're in, but it also let me know just how many people are focused on what they want to focus on. Sometimes, unfortunately, some of the people that we hire who come in who used to be lawyers or used to be teachers or used to be, construction workers or whatever have you, that their heart was in, the people who serve want to help the veterans more. The people who were in law want to help their specific type of law. Not that they're not good at helping all law, but they might want to be more focused on criminal. They might want to be more focused on, overall justice. They might be on tax laws, whatever law. So I learned that by just having these conversations with these people. So they're in there fighting to just get their bill passed, and that is their only thing that they're focused on. We went to these conversations when we lobbied, and literally 9 out of 10 of the people I spoke to had no idea about any of the 4 or 5 laws that affect me directly. I had to sit down with the law on a piece of paper and show it to them and read it and say, do you know what this means? And they were like, no, explain this. This is how this affects me. My job goes kaput. My friends go to jail. Their kids go in the system. And so at the end of the day, what this is actually really a rally cry for him to replace what he lost when the criminal law on drugs, when the war on drugs went away in Florida and got lightened. They need more bodies in the prison. More bodies in the prison means more money for the state. More money for the state means more money in his pocket so he can fly on his private jet and go wherever the hell he wants, because now we can't even track his ass. So the reality is that he has planned this out to put a cushion in place to make Florida his political playground. He said, Disney won't give me Disney, so I'll make Florida Disney. So he told all his Republican Party to put as many things in as possible, to fight as many things as possible, to distract everybody, because what he did was really good. He divided every single one of us. He put one law out there that really super hits each community, knowing that we could not defend with each other. We would have to defend ourselves. And during a supermajority, which we could not possibly win. So while we were too distracted by the laws that were being passed, we weren't focused on who to vote for. So we weren't voting for the right people. We were uneducated about who we were voting for. And he himself was the master of disguise. This man showed up. By the way, I am not a Pulse survivor, but I'm a former Pulse employee. I worked at Pulse nightclub for my first 3 years of living in the state of Florida. And he showed up at our memorial. He shook hands with other people and survivors and their families. And he promised that he wouldn't forget us. It's literally in a newspaper article and a news format. This man was a deceiver to get the votes of the people he got Democrats gave to vote for him. And now he's in this position of power. And now, but before we can snuff his flame out, he has turned it against us. So be smart about these people. You can't trust anybody. You got to show me. You can't. Your words don't mean shit to me at this point.
That's right.
You got to show up and show out. So there are things being done. And I when I spoke to the Democratic Party, I told them, I said, listen, when I call on you, if you don't show up, don't expect that those people in your city to vote for you. Amen. And don't be mad, because there's a recording of me doing that shit too. Because I was like, get this on candid camera, because when I put my foot out for you, understand that it's out there for you, and I'm not losing my foot for you. So make sure you show up, because if you don't, I will make sure whoever's running against you is gonna get it. Because I'd rather give it to somebody who can keep their word, even if it's a lie. I'd rather help the person live than the person who's not going to show up for me. Because now is the time. I don't accept nothing else anymore. And nobody else should either. If you like somebody, they got to show up all the time. That one foot in the hand kind of pot trick, that old school magician's trick don't work no more. Show up and show out.
We're dealing with a different generation of people now. And especially with the Gen Zs, this is why it's so important with the Gen Zs that they become educated on everything. Because the Gen Zs are black, white, gay, mixed, interracial. They don't care. And we got to show them that there is so much more in this country than bigotry and hate and everything. And it's like, we're dealing with children that are biracial. We're dealing with children. And what this man is doing, he's trying to push us back to a time where we're divided. And this is not going to work because it's like these young people are going to fight. They don't really get it all the way, but they're going to fight. And it's like we got to well, Miss Rob, maybe they do get it all the way. I don't know.
You see my mind?
I saw you. I was like, oh, I think they do.
But weren't we divided before?
Yeah.
So you can't. So he's not doing something that wasn't already there.
Okay.
Right? We're just being seen now. So how do we truly stick together and build from this? Because he couldn't break. If we were solidly together before now, he couldn't have. We wouldn't be as separate.
I want to. I know Aida has to leave. Really, she has to go. But I want to say again, thank you so much, y'all. We're gonna get ready to end, but this has been really good. If we could do this again, this would be absolutely amazing. I think the more that we get I think the more we get people involved and show them that we in Florida truly are not trying, but we truly in Florida are truly doing something to be progressive, to be changed for the better. No matter what color you are, no matter what school district you're in, we're doing this for the better. So I really want to just take this time out just to say I thank each and every last one of you all. We can't get it all. We can't say it all in one night. I wish we could. Listen, if we can do this again in the next couple of weeks, that would be absolutely amazing. I want to see if I can get other counties and other teachers that will speak out, because Jenna, we need people like you that aren't afraid, that love what you do, because again, you're in the school system because you love what you do. You love the kids. You love teaching. I believe all of us that's on this platform right now, we're here. Stephen, you're here. Angelique, Miss Robin, Jose, Lewis, Jenna, Aida, we're all here because we love what we do. We love our people. We love, our communities and everything. And it would be a shame to see our freedom taken away. This is why we are speaking out. And I do have to agree with you, Angelique. Listen, it don't matter who you are. If you was Democrat, Republican, can you get the job done? Are you going to be thinking about us in the community? Are you going to be making positive moves for our community and not taking backdoor deals and switching it up? You know what I'm saying? So
thank you, Demario. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey, y'all, remember to stay united.
Appreciate
all right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you all. Listen, we're going to reschedule this again. And where's my outgoing music? Hold on one second. Wait. Listen, if you have enjoyed this show on tonight, I want you to hit that like button, subscribe. Listen, go and follow each and every last one of these people that is on this platform right now. We will be doing this again very soon. I don't know when, but we're going to be scheduling it soon. I am so grateful to have done this tonight. You guys are absolutely amazing. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later. Have a good night, everyone.